Okay, in this video we're going to show you how to set up your account. The area that you're going to focus on is under the settings menu option, under platform settings, and that gives you a link to each one of the tabs that represents the different areas that you can control the system settings. Okay, make sure you're logged in as a manager role in order to do this. Okay, and let's just go into it. So, here it tells you what users, how many users you have, different types of users. Company info, here's where you can upload your logo. Put your default contact information here. There's merge tags in the system that will pull this data to populate onto any templates. You'll learn about that in a separate video. Here's some general company level settings, system settings, if you will. Okay. Some of these are self-explanatory. Always refer to the tooltips to understand how a certain permission or feature works. They're loaded everywhere along the application. So always hover over the eye icon to learn more about how something works. And then of course you can always click the help center here and do a live chat and ask a question about how something works. Or you can just type in something in the knowledge base, something about workflows, and it gives you articles and videos on how certain things work. And there's an FAQ section and then a video library as well. But these are all general system settings. How to auto-generate your loan number. Some people like that. Some people want to make it manually. Sometimes you want to append your signature on all your emails. The loan servicing section. This is like default loan servicing information. If you want that to pre-populate on certain templates and documents, you can put that information there. And then here's for third-party integration. So if you're integrated with a third-party vendor like Credit Plus, you can enter in what services you want enabled for them. And then you put in the username and password and credit card info, billing info, and it'll automatically handle the credit reporting or AVM ordering or flood cert, background check, and things like that. And down below this is really important. These are where your loan programs are. So you can turn on your loan programs here by checking these boxes. A lot of these are defaulted in the system that we've pre-created and pre-configured for you. You can add new loan programs, right? You can rename them and then copy the settings of any of these already existing programs that are in the platform. Okay? And you can also copy the required doc setting as well. And then, it's very important that you understand how branches work. Most people will have only one branch, but if you do have more than one branch and you want to create a new loan program, you can automatically apply that loan program and make it enabled for these other branches in your company. In regards to internal loan program, as you can see here, the internal loan program is only visible by back office employees, and the system lets you link additional required docs for a loan file based on these internal loan products. You can also do that for any form fields, and workflow steps can all be conditional to the internal loan program. So that's typically helpful if you're working with investors or you're a correspondent on behalf of various lenders. You'll set up the internal loan program option so that way your system is very smart in regards to the actual investor or lender on the deal that you're working on. So yeah, these are how you create all your different loan products. Some can be internal or public. Public meaning that all users, including borrowers, will see them. Okay. And down below you have your billing fees. So billing fees are something that shows up in the loan file under the billing section of a loan file, right? So the billing commissions tab will have all your different types of billing fees that you enable there. So if I go to add fee, the list of available fees will show up based on your settings that you've indicated here. Okay, there's a big list of different fees that you can enable here. And then you also have the different types of notes, right? So we have all kinds of different notes that you can categorize by. So that's applicable for when you go to make a note on a file. And it says, what type of note are you making here? you can have a lot of different choices here. Some people like to just have a couple. Some people like to have many to organize all their notes. So when they scroll through, they can say, I don't want to see general notes. I just want to see lender related notes. So it's a great way to organize comments in notes in a file. While you're here, you can see that you can mark certain notes as private or public accordingly. Back to the system settings. So under doc settings, these are all of our industry forms that we've enabled in the system for you to choose from. You can turn them on and off as needed. Okay. If you have any custom docs, you'll see them here that we've pre-programmed for you. We're kind of growing this list over time, so if you feel like we're missing anything that's industry-wide that's needed, let us know. We'd love to add them in there. And down below, you can actually set what are your default required docs for a broker, right, that's registering for your organization. They can upload these items to their profile during the registration process. You can also upload your company docs and make them available inside of a loan file, so that way people can automatically pull them down. Maybe their guidelines, rate sheets, any type of universal template that you want to make available in a loan file that's distributable to the borrower, to the broker, to your staff. This is where you would upload it under the doc settings. Now when we go to the required docs, these are the default required docs that will show up inside of a loan file. So for example, when I create a new loan and I go to the docs tab, it's always going to show me right out of the gate what are the default required docs needed, specifically for the loan product. So in this case, it's a fix and flip product. It'll give me all of the required docs that are needed based on your settings there, right? Of course, you can always add a new required doc to this loan file, or perhaps you want to remove something that's not needed on this particular loan, so you can control that. And furthermore, there's very detailed settings behind this. This deserves its own video to fully explain it, but you can link required docs to loan programs, specific user types who can upload them. You can upload templates and resources. You can put a description that people know what that document is for. And then you can make it conditional to the transaction type, or the occupancy, or the property type, right? Or the property state, right? So these are all parameters that can make a certain required doc conditional, okay? Same concept applies for workflow steps. Workflow steps are action items that need to be done on a loan file. So here's where you're creating, what are your default workflow steps for example, application workflow. So if I click on the edit icon there, I'm building out my application workflow that applies to all of these loan products, these loan programs, right? And I can say display for the branch to access this, or the loan officers. They can actually use this workflow, or they can make it only see it view only, okay? And then when you look at each step, right, so let's say upload the executed contract, right, so that's step number 1, and then here I can put a description. What do I want people to do for this particular step and look out for? I can make it conditional. We'll only show this step if the loan program is equivalent to one of these items here, or if it's a purchase versus a refi, right? So you can make it conditional to all these parameters, okay, which makes it very, very smart, okay? The next is file status. Well, actually, let me show you what the workflow looks like inside of a loan file. So I'll go to the workflow tab, and you'll see here, these are all my workflow steps. All right, so you can check them off. You can make a note, indicate that it's completed, it's pending, it needs review, right? You can notify anybody about what's going on this particular item, right? By checking the box, etc. In the workflow steps and required docs, we make them available in multiple areas, right? So I'm on the dashboard now looking at my upcoming closings, and you'll see by clicking the folder, I'm going to know what workflow steps have been completed and what documents have been uploaded accordingly. So we always make that available quick and easy. Again, here's the pipeline. If I click on that folder icon, I'm going to see all of my workflow steps and required docs here as well. The file status. So these are you can drag and drop these in whatever order you want, and you can relabel them, right? So I can change the name of that, and you can add a whole new file status, and then you can set which users can edit the file when the loan's in that particular status. That's really important. As you can tell in this view here, if a loan's in processing, only the back office can edit it, not the branch level user or the loan officer, the broker, or even the borrower. But if it's in like an application stage, well, then yeah, it's editable by everybody. Okay, this tells you how many loans you have within each stage real quick. And again, so you can create new stages here if you want. And a quick little view of the pipeline shows you where all your stages are at here, right? And then the dashboard also shows you, your status and how many files and the total loan volume in each stage. If, for example, you don't want to see leads in your dashboard for one reason or another, you can, like click here, and then you can say show status in dashboard, and you can turn it off right here. That's how you would do that. The next item here is your sub status. So there's a lot of sub statuses in here that we gave you out of the box. So again, you can click on the pencil to edit them, or you can completely delete them, or you can add a whole new sub status with a new category. Okay. The purpose of sub status is it acts as tags. Right. So when you're on a loan level and you click here, I can start changing the sub status on a file. Okay, so important to note, every loan file can only have one status at a time, but it can have many sub-statuses. It's also known in the industry as tags, right? From a CRM perspective, you can tag your loan files. That way you can run reports. Right, so if I wanted to run a report on a particular sub-status, so for example, how many loans in my pipeline, are I came up with a unique status here, I believe somewhere, like denial reasons. How many loans got denied because the property was unacceptable or the rate was too high, right? Or and you can do multi-select here and give you a custom report accordingly, and then you can always export that, as you need to. So sub statuses act like tags. The web form login area, this is giving you a direct link to where all of your users can log in, right? Different types of users, etc. There are another set of web forms that are related to the submission of a loan. They do live under the branch level. I know it's confusing for some people, but the branches represent your sales channels, and they have their own web forms. So do brokers and loan officers, okay? The custom loan guidelines, that's a really important feature because it helps you start to customize the, let me open it up. It helps you customize the settings of the system on a loan program level. So in this case, I actually merged it with two, bridge loan and fix and flip. And I'm teaching the system, I only want to see a transaction type available for a purchase or a cash out refi. Okay, so if you look over to, this fix and flip, and I go over here to the loan info, for example, what you'll notice is as long as it's on fix and flip, and then I go over to transaction type, I only have these two options. That's controlled by your loan guidelines area by selecting these two. Okay, and everywhere you see a drop down, so the next ones here are property type. Look at these are all residential only property types, but I have a whole bunch of other property types that I can choose. A lot of them are commercial related, right? So I can have different types of property types specific to the product that's enabled here that I'm customizing everything to. Same thing for the loan term, borrower occupancy, property state, amortization options, okay? And as I scroll down, you'll see some other values that are related, like LTV restrictions. So that'll actually show up as a warning. Okay. So if I go into this loan and I try to do something at like 5% down, you'll notice that the guidelines kick in because it doesn't match. It's breaking the rules there. So it's warning the users that you've exceeded the guidelines. Okay, so that's controlled here. And yeah, those are the two main things. And then there's also a marketplace feature. If you do have that feature on in your system, I can make this product display in the marketplace tab of my loan file. And just to give you a quick view of what that looks like. So if I click fix and flip, it should give me a set of products. So some of these lenders are, chosen by LendingWise, and then the ones that are like a custom loan program, like right here, there's the one that we created. I'm logged in as a LendingWise company. That's why you'll see that here. And that's my custom product. Okay, so you can create all your products can be listed in the marketplace, if you have that feature on, and you can set the guidelines accordingly by editing them here under this tab. We're almost done here. File display order. This is what controls all the tabs of your loan file. So when you open all these tabs, right? There's a lot of tabs here. They all have different sets of information. We have hundreds of companies that use us, and they're all in lending space. Some are brokers, some are, private lenders, commercial lenders, business funding lenders. So not everybody needs the same tabs for their files layout. And so you can come in here and reorder them however you want, and you can disable them altogether. Okay? So some things aren't needed, and you can turn them off. Okay? And then the last item here, which is a big one, the form fields. Okay, so every section has a set of fields. So we'll do the first one here. This is the admin info section. So when you're inside of a loan file, you'll notice that the quick app and full app, have a admin info section. So let's go back here. So these are all the field names. So I can turn things off and on and make them mandatory, and I can also link them to a certain loan product only. Okay? So under the admin section, you probably want those on, for all loan products, right? But some fields you may not need at all, so you can just completely uncheck everything, and it won't show up for anybody in your organization. Okay? But going, let's say, to the borrower info. Let's take a look at that one. So this borrower info section has quite a bit of fields here, right? If you go over here to the loan file, let's scroll down, borrower info. These are all the fields that are for borrower, right? And then I can specify under borrower info, so I can start removing certain fields. And notice the columns here, full app, quick app. What's the difference? Well, here's the full app and here's the quick app. And the full app and quick app are also available through, a web form and a link that lives on your website. People can fill out your quick and full app right there. And this is where you would go to turn the fields on and off that you want them to fill out during the quick app or the full app. And then you can make certain fields specific to loan products by clicking here. Notice that if it's blank, it just assumes it's on no matter what the product is. But if you want to make it conditional to a specific loan program, then you would start checking the box or multi-selecting the different products that you want. Okay? That deserves its own video as well. But what we covered today is going through your whole system settings. That's pretty much it. That's what controls the majority of your platform settings. There is another layer of settings that are like web form specific, and you'll find that under the branch settings. Okay, we'll save that for another video as well, but if you hung in here this long, I'll take you to a branch, show you that it's got its own little system settings as well, because think of a branch as like a sub account to the parent account. So you can kind of create its own settings separate from the parent account, like the loan programs. So you could have 5 different branches that focus on different products, loan products, okay? That's one example. And user permission settings. So when that branch manager logs in, what are the permissions he can do or can't do? That this video won't go into the user level permissions because there's a lot there. Branch configuration, it has some settings to address there. Your web form is where there's a lot of settings here as well on how the web form works. Every branch gets its own full app. It gets its own quick app, right? And it gets a broker registration form as well. And then you can control, welcome emails during the completion of any of these forms, right? A thank you page. And so, for example, on the quick app, you'll have these URL links or this HTML code to embed the web form accordingly. And then a couple of, what are the default statuses that the file will go into if somebody fills out the quick app and things like that. We hope you found this helpful, and keep watching more videos, or use our help center to reach out with our live chat, scheduling training, etc.